Harriet, can you hear me okay? Harriet, can you hear me okay?
Good morning. Can I be heard okay?
Yes, Jay, we can hear you.
Sorry.
Okay, great.
Sorry. Yes, I can hear you, but you're pretty quiet. Just FYI.
Okay.
Ed, are you with me?
Did you ask about me? I guess I'm here.
Okay. Morning, everyone. My name is Harris Adams. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear proceeding number 23G-0407CP. Matter comes on for hearing pursuant to decision number 23G. Let's say the decision number, the proceeding number.
You already said the preceding number, I think.
Thank you. Okay. Matter comes on for hearing pursuant to decision number R23-0869I. Call the hearing to order, and if we can start with entries of appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Attorneys General Justin Cox and Jennifer Hayden with the Colorado Attorney General's Office on behalf of trial staff, the Public Utilities Commission.
Good morning. The attendees on our web conference here today, and I don't see anyone that appears that could be the respondent. So noting that and the fact that we did set this as a hybrid hearing, there's a chance that attending in person or having technical difficulty session. I'm going to take a brief recess. We will come back 10:15. I also want to put on the record this matter was vacated and rescheduled in order to ensure that the respondent was in fact served with the Commission's decisions, and so they were served both the decision setting today's hearing and as an attachment to that decision, the original decision was decision number R23-0765. I think the respondent should have known we were here today, and whether he or she chooses here to join us. So we'll be in recess till 10:15. Okay, we'll go back on the record. Look, and there's no one in the hall or trying to get into the hearing room. Does not appear like anyone is. So I believe we are ready to proceed. Mr. Cox, you can call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff calls Jay Estrada to the stand.
Estrada, if you would please raise your right hand. To tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing.
Yes, sir, I do.
Cox.
Good morning, Mr. Estrada. It's good to see you.
Morning.
My name is Justin Cox, and I'm with the Attorney General's office. I'm here representing the trial staff for the Public Utilities Commission. We'll start by getting to know you a little bit. Can you please introduce yourself and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Jay Estrada. First name is Jay, last of Estrada.
And who is your employer?
The state of Colorado.
Are you with a particular agency?
Yes, DORA with subsection of the Public Utilities Commission.
And what is your current position with the Public Utilities Commission?
I'm a criminal investigator in the Transportation Division.
And how long have you worked as a criminal investigator?
Almost 5 years now.
Can you briefly?
Mr. Cox, hold a second.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Cox.
Mr. Estrada, can you briefly describe your duties as an investigator?
We investigate and regulate complaints of several different industries under our umbrella, mostly towing, limousines, taxis, stagecoach, stuff like that.
And as part of your duties, are you familiar with the statutes and rules that govern the regulation of common carriers, passengers by vehicle?
Yes, I am.
And also as part of your duties, were you assigned to investigate complaints against Colorado Canyon Connection?
Yes, I was.
How many complaints did you investigate?
2.
Did your investigations eventually result in the issuance of a civil penalty assessment or notice of complaint to appear, also known as a CPAN?
Yes.
Okay, before getting into those investigations, I'm interested to what you can tell us a little bit about the business of Colorado Canyon Connection. Does the Public Utilities Commission generally maintain a database of information relating to businesses like Colorado Canyon Connection that would interact with the PUC?
Yes, we do.
And what is the name of that database?
There's actually a couple of them. We have an operational rights system and an integrated, I can't remember the exact breakdown, integrated file management system, normally known as IFMS.
Ms. Federico, if you could pull up hearing exhibit 100. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
That is a composite report that we get off of the integrated filing management system known as IFMS. That tells us about a certain carrier that we're looking into.
And is this the IFMS for Colorado Canyon Connection?
Yes, it is.
And what information is generally contained in this these IFM reports?
Their permit status, the name of their company, contact information, whether it be mailing addresses, phones, email addresses, stamp information for a number of vehicles for the company and so forth.
Is it the regular practice of the commission to create and maintain these types of records in the ordinary course of its business activities?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 100.
Exhibit 100 is admitted.
Mr. Estrada, we're on page 1 there, towards the top of page 1. What is the status of Colorado Canyon connection?
At the time this was printed, it's inactive,
And what does inactive mean?
that they do not have an active permit to be operating in the state.
Ms. Federico, if we could scroll down to page 3. And on page 3, Mr. Estrada, can you tell us who's identified as the owner of the business?
Yeah, designated agent is John Clark.
And is Mr. Clark also listed as a member or partner on the IFMs?
Yes.
And then on that same page, do you see a section titled application information? Scroll down there a little bit.
There it is.
There we
Yes.
go. And can you summarize the information that's contained under the application information?
It's a series of applications that were submitted on behalf of this company looking to obtain a permit.
And what is the application status of each of those?
There are 4 of them.
Applicants.
Well, actually 4 actions, 3 different types of permits: the charter bus, the luxury limousine, and common carrier, and they've all been dismissed.
What was the last permit applied for?
Common carrier on May 24th of 2022.
And that was also dismissed.
Yes.
So has Colorado Canyon Connection ever had a permit to operate that was issued by the commission?
No.
And does the IFMs usually contain information related to insurance coverage?
Yes.
Does this particular one related to Colorado Canyon Connection include any insurance information?
No.
And why is that?
They never, number one, they never obtained a permit. Number 2, they never submitted it.
All right, Ms. Federico, I'm done with exhibit 100 and you can take that down. Thank you. Mr. Estrada, now I'd like to turn to your investigations. You previously mentioned receiving 2 complaints. Talk about the first one. Approximately when did you receive, when did the commission receive the first complaint regarding Colorado Canyon Connection?
I believe that was in December of 2021.
What was the nature of that complaint?
That they were seen operating without a permit by a person who filed the complaint with a similar company up in Estes Park.
And then what steps did you take to investigate that complaint?
Contacted the complainant who called in with the complaint, asked what he had. He basically told me that he was seeing them. He has seen this company operating around town, carrying passengers, knowing that they did not have a permit. And so after that, I then confirmed that by looking at the databases with the PUC, both the IFMs and the oprights, and the Secretary of State database. At the time, they were registered with the Secretary of State, but they had no active permit through the PUC. And then I also checked online to see if any kind of advertisement was being done for the company, and there was.
Ms. Federico, if you could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 102 screen. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
Do you need it zoomed in a little more?
No, I got my glasses. I just wanted to make sure of the date that was up there on the corner.
And what is this document?
That is the first page of the advertisement for the business that I had found online.
And so you said you found it online. Do you have an approximation of when you accessed this website?
Well, looking at the date that was on there, it looks like January 6th of 2022.
And now, was that around the time you were investigating the initial complaint against Colorado Canyon Connection?
Yes, it was.
And how do you know this is Colorado Canyon Connection's website?
Well, their business name is clearly stated on there, along with the phone number. I believe the phone number was consistent with what was in IFMS, I believe. And then the information that they were showing advertising there in the Estes Park area.
And is this a fair and accurate representation of the website that you accessed in January 2022?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 102.
Exhibit 102 is admitted.
Mr. Estrada, on page 1 there, you mentioned the name of the business. Does the website also include a picture of a vehicle with signage related to Colorado Canyon Connection?
Yes, in that upper right-hand corner, looks like there's a gray SUV with the same emblem that is on the website.
And then, and if you need to have it scrolled down, let us know. But can you give us a brief summary of the services provided by Colorado Canyon Connection according to the website?
Yeah, they provide shuttle service or personal service to several different locations. They have different kinds of plans or ways that they can reserve seating for these shuttles and guide services, and to and from, I believe, to and from DIA also.
And are these types of services generally regulated by the Public Utilities Commission?
Yes.
And are companies required by statute and commission rule to obtain a permit from the commission before advertising and providing services such as these?
Yes.
And again, Colorado Canyon Connection has never had a permit from the PUC, is that right?
Correct.
Ms. Federico, I think we're done with exhibit 102. Take that one down. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, after you looked at the various databases and the websites, what were the findings of your investigation?
That they did not have a permit and that there was no required insurance on file with the commission.
And then what actions did you take as a result of that investigation?
I attempted to serve a warning letter with those two violations via email, or I'm sorry, via certified mail. And there were some roadblocks in that, and I ended up going and serving Mr. Clark in person with the warning letter.
Ms. Federico, if you could pull up what's marked as hearing exhibit 101. You. Mr. Estrada, are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
And what is the document?
That is the warning letter that I served Mr. Clark.
And did you create it?
Yes, I did.
If we could scroll down to page 2, Ms. Federico. Mr. Estrada, is that your name and signature on page 2?
Yes.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of the warning letter to Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 101.
One is admitted.
Ms. Federico, you can move back up to page 1. Investigator Estrada, what violations did this letter warn Mr. Clark about?
Well, the first one was offering to operate as a common carrier. The second one is operate as a contract carrier, since they're both separate types of permits, and he had neither. And then also the third one would be to fail to maintain the evidence with the commission.
Ms. Federico, you can take down Exhibit 101. Mr. Estrada, you talked about personally serving the letter to Mr. Clark because you were having trouble with the mail. Did anyone accompany you when you served that letter?
Yeah, Investigator Joe Potts was with me.
And when you delivered the warning letter, did you say anything to Mr. Clark?
Yes, I advised him that about the charges of the violations of the permit and the insurance, and I advised him to not operate any further and to no longer advertise until that permit was obtained. And he said he understood.
So in addition to the warning letter, you verbally warned Mr. Clark to stop all transportation operations and stop advertising.
Yes.
Until he received his permit and got his insurance. And you said Mr. Clark understood. And he said he understood, but did he end up complying with those warnings?
No.
Did he continue to offer transportation services without a permit, without insurance?
Yes, and of course that resulted in the second complaint.
Before we get into your second investigation, Ms. Federico, if you could pull up Exhibit 103. And Mr. Estrada, are you aware if Mr. Clark took any actions regarding obtaining a permit after receiving his warning letter and your verbal warning?
Yes, I believe he did apply for a common carrier permit, also known as the CPCN, which was eventually dismissed.
Your Honor, hearing exhibit 103, staff requests that you take administrative notice of this exhibit. This is decision number R22-0651, issued October 25th, 2022, and proceeding number 22A-0216CP, dismissing Colorado Canyon Connections application for a CPCN to operate as common carrier.
Exhibit 103 is admitted by administrative notice, that being R22-0651.
Ms. Federico, you can take that down. Thank you. Mr. Estrada, so after Colorado Canyon Connections common carrier permit was denied, was that the last you heard of Mr. Clark and his company?
No.
And you mentioned you had received another complaint previously, but when was that complaint received?
I believe it was in April of 2023.
And what was the nature of that complaint?
Similar complaint, same complainant, that the person was seen operating around the Estes Park area with customers in his van marked Colorado Canyon Connection.
And what steps do you take to investigate this complaint?
The same as the last one. Looked into seeing if there was any permit and if there was any kind of advertisement going on.
Ms. Federico, if you could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 104. you. Are you familiar with this document, Investigator Estrada?
Yes,
And what is it?
it's the initial first page of the website that was accessed when I put in the search for Colorado Canyon Connection, similar to the one from the first complaint.
And when did you access this website?
Looks like August 2nd of 2023.
And similar to before, how do you know this is Colorado Canyon Connections website?
Same business name, same phone number, same vehicle, same logo on the side of the vehicle. Everything was coincided exactly with the first complaint.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of the website you accessed in August 2023?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 104.
Hearing exhibit 104 is admitted.
And Mr. Estrada, when you access this website in 2023, were the services being offered according to the website any materially different than when you looked at the website in 2022 during your first investigation?
No, they were very similar.
Can you again summarize the types of services offered by Colorado Canyon Connection according to the website?
Yeah, shuttles and rides to sites around the Estes Park, Rocky Mountain National Park, DIA, and prices for those based on group numbers and so forth. Everything based there out of Estes Park.
And just want to make sure, Ms. Federico, could you scroll through the slides? And again, these are types of services that would require a person to obtain or a business to obtain a permit from the Public Utilities Commission. Is that correct?
Yes.
So in August 2023, Mr. Clark and Colorado Canyon Connection continued to advertise shuttle services on their website, even after they had received your written and verbal warning not to operate until they had a permit, correct?
To not operate or advertise, yes.
And also after being denied the common carrier permit,
Yes.
correct?
They continue to operate, yes.
Ms. Federico, thank you. You may pull down hearing exhibit 104. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, what were your ultimate findings of your second investigation?
Similar to the first, in violation of not having a permit or insurance on file.
And what actions did you take as a result of your investigation?
I personally met with Mr. Clark and served him the penalty assessment, the CPAN, for those two violations.
Let's talk about that CPAN. Ms. Federico, if you could bring up what's marked as hearing exhibit 105. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, do you recognize this document?
Yes, that is the CPAN that I served Mr. Clark.
And did you create this document?
Yes, I did.
And Ms. Federico, if you could scroll down a little bit to the bottom of page 1. Is that your name and signature on the bottom there, Mr. Estrada?
Yes.
And is this a fair and accurate representation of the CPAN that you issued against Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 105.
Five is admitted.
Mr. Estrada, you mentioned you personally went to see Mr. Clark to provide him with the CPAN. When was this served?
August 8th of 2023
And where was it served?
at his residence, the 1102 Haybarn Hill Road address in Estes Park.
And who signed for the receipt of the CPAN?
Mr. Clark did.
Is that towards the bottom of the exhibit of the page there? Is that Mr. Clark's signature?
Under respondent signature, yes.
And when you served the CPAN to Mr. Clark, even though it was his home, did you observe anything related to the business Colorado Canyon Connection?
Yes, when I first got there, there was no answer at the door. I went around the back of his house to see if there was maybe somebody in the back of the house. I could not find anybody or contact him. And as I was going back to the front of the house, Mr. Clark pulled up in a gray van, not the same one that was on the website, but more of a bigger gray passenger van with the same markings and logo on the side advertising Colorado Canyon Connection.
So he was driving a vehicle with the signage advertising shuttle services of Colorado Canyon Connection, even though he didn't have a permit?
Yes.
Taking a closer look at the CPAN, what is the nature of violation number 1?
That he was operating and or offering to operate as a common carrier for an intrastate commerce without having obtained that permit from the commission.
What was the basis for that violation?
There being no permit issued to him based on the databases that I searched.
You said that was, sorry, I had a hard time hearing you. You said that was databases that you
Yes,
searched?
yes, the IFMs and the oprights, searching both of those to find out the status of any permit that he may have. There was none.
And were the websites that you searched as well involved? Did that play into your investigation and findings as well?
Yes, because he was advised to no longer advertise until that permit was obtained, but there was still advertising for the business going on.
And as we previously discussed, Colorado Canyon Connection has never had a permit from the commission. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you know if Mr. Clark and Colorado Canyon Connection continue to advertise shuttle services despite its lack of a permit?
As we speak right now, I have not checked, but at the time of this, he still was.
And what is violation number 2 on the CPAN?
That in order to operate, you would need to have the financial responsibility or insurance on file with the commission, and he does not. He did not have anything on file.
And has Mr. Clark or Colorado Canyon Connection ever filed any evidence of insurance with the commission?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So when you served the CPAN, similar to when you served the warning letter, did you provide an explanation of why you issued the CPAN?
Yeah, when I first spoke with Mr. Clark, I asked him if he remembered me and what we talked about the year before. At first, he said vaguely. And then when I explained to him about the no permit, he recalled the entire incident vividly. And then he said that he did apply for a common carrier CPCN permit, but because others were allowed to intervene, he no longer decided to pursue that permit, and it was eventually dismissed. He didn't understand why others could intervene and stop that from happening.
But he didn't deny operating without a permit or anything like that related to the allegations in the CPAN?
No, he did not.
And then did the CPAN contain proposed penalties for the alleged violations?
Yes, it did. It had fines and penalty surcharges for both.
And what amount of the penalties that were imposed in the CPAN has Mr. Clark paid to the commission as of today?
Nothing, to the best of my knowledge.
Ms. Federico, you can take down Exhibit 105. The investigator Estrada, last question for you. Do you have any recommendations for the ALJ today?
Yes, Mr. Clark has obviously disregarded everything that we've tried to talk to him about as far as obtaining that permit. He still continues to operate. So therefore I ask that all the penalties that were mentioned on that CPAN be enforced.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada. Your Honor, we are done with this witness.
I don't believe I have any questions. So, Mr. Estrada, thank you for your testimony.
Thanks, sir.
Call you next witness.
No other witnesses, Your Honor. So we will rest.
All right. Well, the respondent not appearing, that will bring our hearing to a close. I'll take the matter under advisement and issue a written recommended. I wish you all a good day.